Hello YouTube, welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy and this is Scruffy Tales. And I figured I would return to the fact that Ukraine is about to field a Swedish armored fighting vehicle, the PBV 302, because it's been popping up in the news feeds or in media streams and what have you, whatever. And people comment about the hatches, and it annoys me. And it concerns these hatches. As you can see here, you have four guys on either side standing up, looking around, providing fire support and cover for the vehicle. And this is the PBV 302, obviously. Uh, and, when you look at various YouTube clips, channels, videos, whatever, about this vehicle and the fact that it's going to Ukraine, they comment frequently that these guys standing here can deal with drones. That this is, for some reason, a great defense against drones. These guys standing up in the hatches. And no, no, it ain't. No, stop doing it. Why are they doing this? I don't understand. Because as we frequently see in the war in Ukraine, here is a Russian whatever, something, with lots of hatches open. And take a look at this guy. This is a drone about to dive in, and here we have guys standing up in hatches. He's jumping off the vehicle while it's going at full tilt. He's bailing ship. He's rather breaking his legs and arms than trying to shoot at the incoming drone. This guy is diving into cover and he's doing nothing. He's just terrified because he knows things are about to end up really horrible for himself. So, this is what happens when you have a vehicle with open hatches and soldiers, they see a drone coming in. Exact same situation as with the PBV 302. And what is the end result of this, you might ask? Yeah, a turret toss is the end result. So no, this thing here, these guys standing up here, is not a great defense against drones in Ukraine. I don't know why YouTubers and YouTube channels and YouTube clips and what have you dealing with this topic and subject keep repeating that. I don't understand it. I've seen it in comment sections as well on my own videos. It's like, no, 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 no. Uh, the CV90, the famous, very excellent infantry fighting vehicle built by Sweden, provided to Ukraine, also has hatches. And you don't see the Ukrainians standing up in the hatches of the CV90 for that very reason. They're going to get bombed to smithereens by drones if they do it. Bad idea. This is an excellent way to provide security to the vehicle as it's advancing. You can use it to use the vehicle as a moving pillbox or bunker for the troops. So you can be very aggressive with the vehicle. You have flanking security. The troops can throw hand grenades at trench lines close to it. They can open fire from the vehicle into a trench line or into a building or whatever, stuff like that. So before drone warfare and the war in Ukraine, this setup in the PBV 302 and the CV90, very effective. Now that drones are a thing, not so sure that this is a viable option anymore, to be perfectly honest. But I made a bunch of videos about this. You have here PBV 302, Ukraine's new assault vehicle, Riders of the Storm, Ukraine's new assault vehicle, Ukraine approves the use of the PBV 302, yada yada yada. And I have also made videos about the CV90. I'll try and remember to provide links why the CV90 will dominate in Ukraine and the best infantry fighting vehicle in Ukraine a year later. A bunch of videos. I'll try and remember providing the links so you may learn a thing or two about the PBV as well as the CV90. So, what do we know? Well, we've seen this video from the Czech Republic of a bunch of PBV 32s on their way towards Ukraine, and we see various versions of it. How many will be deployed to Ukraine? A bit unknown, a bit unclear. We have seen figures from 80 to 300. Safe to say is that quite a few of them will probably be used for spare parts, and not all 300, if that is how many it is, will be used to take the fight to the Russians along the front line. Uh, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of them heading towards Ukraine at the moment. And this is now a couple of days old, and it was recorded in the Czech Republic. In that video, we saw a variant of the PBV 302 along with the more standard versions. We saw an ePBV 3022, and that is, the ePBV stands for Eldledningspansarbandvagn. And oh yeah, that's right, I didn't mention that. PBV stands for Pansarbandvagn, armored tracked vehicle. And for some reason, everyone calls it Panzerbandwagen. It's not a Panzerbandwagen. It's not German. This is not a Panzerbandwagen, yeah. This is a Swedish Panzerbandvagn. And this version here, with that extra turret, is Eldledningspansarbandvagn. And this is a forward observer vehicle. You use this vehicle to guide in accurate artillery and mortar fire, indirect fire in other words. So you can have this vehicle follows the frontline troops right behind the action, and can then aid in that frontline fighting by providing accurate fire missions to the artillery, to the mortar teams, so that the frontline troops get proper fire support on schedule, on time, and on the heads of the enemy. And if you take a look at the front of the PBV-32, you can see it has some weird looking piece of armor. Those are actually shields that you unfold when you go amphibious with the vehicle. So it allows the vehicle to plow through water and directs the waves and water splashes away from the vehicle as you're moving forward. So it's amphibious, and it relies on its tracks for motion in the water, and it's quite reliable in the water as well, unlike Russian vehicles. So this is an old vehicle. It was designed in the 60s. It was basically designed and built to outperform the American M113 and other NATO vehicles of the time. An M113 was tested, but Sweden wasn't impressed, so they decided, why not build our own? So they built a vehicle that had better off-road capability, better armor, and a better gun than the M113. And Sweden also removed the ramp in the rear and went with 2 hatches, because Sweden found it provided much faster dismounts. If you had hatches, you could quicker get out of the vehicle and get the troops into combat much more efficiently. And the end result was a vehicle that did outperform the M113, and it also outperformed the British FV432. This was a vehicle that was very successful and very reliable. And another thing that made it a bit special was that it was quite cheap by comparison. And that was because Sweden decided to rely on as many civilian parts as possible, as well as existing NATO parts. Which of course not only lowered the cost for the thing, but also made it really easy to repair and keep up maintenance of the vehicle, even out in the field or during wartime conditions. The PPV also has a couple of interesting design features. The engine is designed to be as flat as possible and fits beneath the crew, the 3 crew members who are positioned up front. So they are basically sitting on top of the engine. And this, of course, gives a lot of space within the vehicle itself. It can carry 1.2 tons of cargo in its standard configuration. And if you modify it a bit for to be a transport only, it can carry 2 tons of cargo. And but now it is no longer amphibious. And it can also be modified to be a ambulance by rearranging the troop compartment, and then you can fit 4 or 6 stretchers for medevacs. Interestingly enough, it was not designed to be an APC. It was actually designed to be an infantry fighting vehicle, and a very aggressive infantry fighting vehicle at that. The entire doctrine of the day back in the 60s and throughout the Cold War of the 70s and the 80s, and well into the 90s and 2000s for that matter, the doctrine and tactics were to drive straight up to the enemy, within 50 meters of his position, dismount troops right on top of the enemy and open fire point blank range, or standing in the hatches of the vehicle, throwing hand grenades at the enemy, firing from the vehicle as it aggressively maneuvered to outposition, outmaneuver, outflank the enemy. The PBV 302 is armed with a 20 millimeter gun uh, that is effective against infantry fighting vehicles in the flanks, APCs up front, can engage helicopters, and of course infantry. It has a 8 times zoom, I believe, and it is accurate at up to 22 kilometers. And it is also equipped with 30 round magazines to avoid jams that were an issue with the older belt-fed system. Now, in terms of protection, it's fairly impressive. It has a double-layered armored plating. It can withstand 20 millimeter projectiles up front. Uh, 84 millimeter heat rounds had little effect thanks to the double layer of the armor. And it was only 155 millimeter artillery rounds that could penetrate the armor of the vehicle if the shrapnel uh, came at it from a distance of around 15 meters from the point of detonation. Now, keep in mind that Russia uses 152 millimeters. So, Russian artillery at some distance can't penetrate. The armored Russian artillery needs to land really, really close to these vehicles to have an effect. One potential issue is the fact that the vehicles are old and they're not designed to withstand mines as modern vehicles are. It has a flat bottom and it is vulnerable to mines. Modern vehicles have a V-shaped bottom or underbelly that diverts the explosive force of the mine away from the vehicle. But old vehicles like the PBV 302 and M113, they have a flat bottom and all the energy of the mine goes straight into the vehicle, and that can be a serious problem for the people inside. The upgraded version, the B version, was later equipped with laser range finders as well, and also had positioning systems, and was also given all-purpose ammunition, so you didn't have to switch between anti-armor and anti-personnel. So you had one round that could deal with most targets. And also we have to mention the 50 or so PBV 302s that were outfitted specifically for international missions with the UN in former Yugoslavia. They were equipped with improved armor that included an added inner spall liner as well as outer ceramic armor. And these additions proved very effective. And the Swedish contingent in former Yugoslavia saw combat on multiple occasions, and the PBVs took several hits from everything from RPGs to machine gun fire, and even on 3 occasions, the PBVs were hit by anti-tank guided missiles, and there were no Swedish casualties. So these were very capable and sturdy vehicles. So, after several decades of service, the PBV 302 has proven itself a reliable infantry fighting vehicle and/or armored personnel carrier, whatever you want to use it for. And it has a powerful and trustworthy engine, and I mean, it has very good protection, very good, especially the ones that were outfitted for international service. And I hope Ukraine will receive those 50 vehicles because those they were beasts. There's no other way to describe it. And yeah, the vehicle overall has very good performance off-road. It is a very good vehicle to traverse difficult terrain with. Uh, Downside might be the low magazine count or ammunition count in the magazines, 30 rounds at most, if I'm not entirely mistaken. That could be a problem in a prolonged firefight, obviously. But overall, the vehicle should outperform most APCs in the Ukrainian service, and Ukraine relies heavily on the M113 for assaulting enemy trenches, to be used as medevac for general transport and what have you. And the PBV 302 should perform very well in all those roles, considering it was built to outperform the M113. So that's that. Yeah, began making this video because I was annoyed at all the comments and videos that was talking about, oh, the hatches, they can use it to shoot down drones. No, no, they won't. God damn it, stop talking about it. It's not gonna happen. It's a bad idea. It will only invite drones inside the vehicle, and you don't want that. No, no, no. You want that armor between you and the drone. Uh, so yeah, that's it. Another PBV 302 video. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. And as always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.